All right, folks, here we are, game week 219, coming out of the international break. Just one more game week for that, I believe. And some interesting numbers to look at here. So we're going to start before we get into the player recommendations. So first off, from a winning percentage point of view, Global All-Star is really, really tight. Whereas something, say, down in America is pretty nice, actually, a good chance. Now, I'm filming this on Sunday, so there's still a day and a bit to get rosters in. So obviously these numbers will all come down a bit. But if you can put together an America's side, you stand a pretty good shot. So I like that there. Global special weekly, not really worth it in my opinion, really just top four. I think some of the big whales will clean that up pretty easy. If we look down in limited, pretty similar. I guess All-Star is a little more easier to place, but U23 looks okay. And again, America's looks good. One thing before we move off this that I wanted to look at is last midweek, because it was an international break as well. So kind of similar amount of teams playing and countries and whatnot. So here's what we have for winning points. So again, Global All-Star, not only did it hardly pay out anything, but you needed 330, 380, 390 to win cards. Really, really difficult. Whereas down in U23, a 230 point game, 180 down in Americas was enough to get a card. So you see this as well as in limited, even less. So 129 points for U23. I don't know why I didn't put a team in there. 222 in Americas as well. And All-Star was achievable as well. So I think we'll see something pretty similar here. And so, yeah, don't give up this game week. Put in as many rosters as you can squeeze in, because you never know. So that's where this looks at. We'll look at the players I've been recommending over the last few weeks here. So let's look at game week 217. So that was the midweek one last week. So kind of some good, some bad. So Lee Young was definitely a big win for me. He did quite well. Josh Cullen did kind of what you'd hope or what you'd think, nothing amazing, but definitely pretty steady. And actually, he just finished a match. I think this is a 50, actually, I think. And the match just ended maybe 45 minutes ago. So that might even increase a few more points, but pretty steady, and that's quite nice. Hrustich didn't do quite as well as I hoped, but not the worst in the world here. Sorare, I definitely thought he was going to start, and instead he came off the bench, so that was a disappointment. And thankfully, one of my viewers put a little comment in the video, in my video below, saying that Young Guan had gotten injured and was withdrawn from the team. So hopefully you're able to see that and you didn't go and make a purchase. So that was unfortunate. Into game week 218, the one that we're kind of still in the midst of. So still kind of, some of these are correct and some of them are still coming in, but just a quick look, looks like, some sort of pushes, if you will. 40s aren't what you're hoping for, but you're at least, you'll sort of take it, I suppose. A few DNPs that, especially some of these bigger guys. I mean, I knew Kripo wasn't necessarily going to start, so that was kind of maybe a fake one or a Hail Mary. Buxa, I was kind of surprised. I don't know if they're kind of protecting him for his MLS playoffs or what it is, but that was definitely a surprise. Larea did pretty well. And like I said, if you bought any of these guys from the previous game week, you at least got something, especially from Cullen. So, getting there. Don't love how I performed. I'll check these scores later as well, in case any of them are sort of mid-game or something like that. So moving along, what I want to look at was players that we can recommend for this week. So, again, a lot of country sides here and a little bit of America-based matches as well. So a couple guys that I'm looking at. So Waturu Endo is a really nice one. I'm really excited about him here. Let me just open this up all the way. So he might be my number one sort of recommendation here. So first off, played really well against Vietnam, and has a number of pretty strong matches when he's played for country, for sure. So 83 or 57, I think, down here as well. But then also for club, like, look at this run right here, really great stretch. And then he's been maybe a little more inconsistent, but again, not the worst scores in the world here for Stuttgart. So, you potentially have a chance to buy him low. And when I say this, I mean, especially in the limited here. I mean, look at sort of his price, even 1 month average at 170 in the rare. And then you see that, in limited, it's a fraction of that. Typically you want to look at this and see that, this number, given that there will be 1,000 of them, and there's 100 of these, then this number should be about 10% of that. So when it's a much less than 10%, that's a really good sign. And actually what we see even in just the current market is, this number should be 10% of this, right? Because this will be 1,000 eventually, and this will be 100. And right now we're seeing that, right now there's about 17% of the rare cards in circulation. There's only 10.8% of the limited cards in circulation. So it's actually even less. And we have a really depressed price right now, at least if we use rare as a bit of a benchmark. So to me, and then we see best offer is even lower than what the 1 month average, 2 week, and so on. So I think this is a massive buy low. I think he'll do well for Japan in this midweek, and then you also have somebody who's maybe not played quite as well, but could get back into this level of consistency, which you love. So I'll be racing out getting one of his cards in limited, no doubt. Trent Sainsbury for Australia. So kind of nice, cheap player, under 0.1 in the rare space. He's kind of right in his prime, 29-year-old. And just look at this consistency. So did really well for Australia against Saudi Arabia, but also for club, for Kortrijk. He's been really solid. Again, back to Australia here really solid. He's the center back there. So just Australia is one of the teams that you expect to come out of the qualification, and they're playing, who are they playing now? They are playing, China. So, definitely a winnable game there. I think China is, are they bottom of the table? Let's see here. Near the bottom. So they've got one win and a draw, but certainly Australia would be favored in that one. So I really like Sainsbury as just a nice value pick, and somebody that, again, you can get for this midweek, and then certainly play him. I mean, this is really nice and consistent across the board here. So I'd say either rare or limited. Next up, we got Matthew Ryan. So this is an interesting one for me. So he's the keeper, and I mean, look at these scores. So first, this scares you off, of course. Well, he's the backup keeper, so he doesn't get a lot of games, and you might think, well, I'm not going to invest in that just for the international breaks. But maybe when you look at this, you might be tempted. I mean, look at 75 for here. This was actually where I guess he did play for Sociedad. But again, for Australia, 49.56. There's another spot start for Sociedad. 71.60 for Australia, again, 61.74. So every time he plays for Australia, he does well. And I'm just curious if maybe he's got a future, maybe he gets transferred out, or of course there could be an injury or something like that. It seems to me like a talented keeper that might have a bright future playing in domestic league, and might be a nice price. These prices aren't that low. Obviously, you're still paying a bit of a premium, but to know that you have a keeper that will likely play in the World Cup as well in a year, and basically you've got several weeks. I know it's early, that's a year from now, but this is definitely a guy I'm keeping an eye on, and I'm going to maybe see if I can maybe grab a rare card over the next few months here. So Ali Golizade, something like that. I had his card and I let it go, and I kind of wish I hung on, because he's really steady for club. His price is a little high here. I would say he's actually, as you can see by best offer, he's a bit overpriced right now. So I'm not telling you to run out and get this card, but definitely the way he's played of late is pretty fantastic. And for Iran, he's done well as well, even though maybe less so in the previous break. So this is a guy that, I guess, if you're sort of comfortable, or you're looking to buy someone kind of high or playing at their peak, this is, you're going to pay a little bit of a premium, but looks like he's doing that. Oh, Timothy Way. So really played well against Mexico. So, I mean, the U.S. beating Mexico 2-0, and they had a red card as well. And just a massive performance, and Way, it was fantastic. And of course, here again, he's only 21, I believe. Yeah. And So you're not going to get a ton of playable scores when he returns back to club for Lille, but the fact that he does so well, he did well. I think that US's next match against Jamaica, I feel like they'll sort of reward him with another start. And so you definitely, I think, should be expecting a nice score for that one. And then if you are kind of shopping, these next several players are really kind of young guys that you might want to invest in for the future. So this isn't something to kind of flip or even play necessarily every single week. But definitely, transfer market, I think, has him rated about 13 million. So definitely an up-and-comer for the US and Lille as well. But again, not someone you can necessarily play right away or every week, rather. Similar to the US, so another player that played really well was Tyler Adams. So roughly similar price, but he's a mid and didn't do quite as well, but still really strong score. And for Leipzig as well, doesn't sort of comes off the bench, doesn't play all the time, but gets decent scores for when he plays for the US. And again, you're looking more for a longer term investment if you're buying him. 22 years old. And then Salamakers here. So these next two are Belgium players. So Belgium's already clinched. They've won their group, so they'll be in the World Cup next year. And so I just wonder if this next match, I believe it's Finland they're playing, that they may just play some of their young guys and just get some nice playing time. So I'm rolling the dice here that even though, again, he's not necessarily gets you the points you need at club level, he's a young guy to invest in. I think he's worth around 20 million on transfer market, and priced pretty reasonable for a guy with that kind of ranking. So you've got a little heart here. I own one of them, and again, not someone necessarily you can rely on week to week, but I think maybe he will get a start this midweek and do all right. So I like that one. I'm always looking at the U23 type players. So, and similarly, again for Belgium, so this Arthur Thiet, if I'm saying that right, pretty affordable here. A lot of his cards are out, so there could be some action, some trades, or some offers you can make to get a deal here. He's actually had some really nice scores for his club. He's only 21 for Bologna. In fact, he transferred from Ostende to Bologna here, as you can see, in August. And in that time, a lot of DMPs and stuff, so it's going to be hard to know when to start him. But you also see that when he has played, he's played really well for him. So I really like this one, as if he can just get regular playing time, he might be fantastic for them. And again, I wonder if Belgium will reward him with a start this coming game week. So I might take a gamble on this one. This might be one of my purchases coming up. So there you go. Hope that helps. Listen to all of those. Maybe don't run out and buy all of them, because as you saw by my performance, they don't all pan out for me. But certainly listen to my point of view and pick the 2 or 3 ones that make the most sense to you. And we'll see you at the next one. Thanks so much. All right, bye.